Today we're going to be talking about Dracula, the real Dracula, not some love-induced coma version of Dracula. No, who he was and why was he so angry. Anyways, so everybody knows who Dracula is. He's a very creepy dude, long cape, hella bad dental plan, turns into a bat and terrorizes villagers. Why can't I say that word? What if I told you Dracula wasn't a vampire? Yep, no bats, no immortal life, no sparkle in the sun moments a la Edward Cullen. Dracula, or as his government name would have been, Vlad III of Welchia, I did not pronounce that right at all, was more, human. Specifically, impaling his enemies like it was a medieval Pinterest board filled of thoughts. So there is a part that I was thinking about this. So when they call him like Vlad the Impaler, do you actually think he impaled as many people as he says he did? I mean, think about it for a second. It's back in the day, a lot of people were claiming they see dragons or they've seen like some sort of giant sea monster in the ocean, whatever. What makes you think that they couldn't have come up with like a thing of like he impaled, let's say, roughly about 5 people, and then they took it into proportion like, oh no, he like impaled 50. I don't know, because back then more was like a big thing. I don't know. Could be. Who really knows, to be honest? But anyways, Vlad III, better known as Vlad the Impaler, born in 1431 in Transylvania, Vlad was a ruler during one of the most turbulent periods in European history. His homeland, I'm not going to say that name again because that was chaotic, was caught between the Ottoman Empire to the south and Hungary to the north. So fast forward to 1897, when Irish author Bram Stoker published his novel Dracula. Stoker never visited Transylvania, but he did do his homework. Well, kinda. He borrowed the name Dracula and a vague idea of Vlad's brutality from history, but the vampire stuff, well, that all came from folklore. Stoker pulled inspiration from centuries of vampire myths. In Eastern European folklore, vampires were seen as undead creatures that drank blood, spread disease, and preyed upon the living. Combine that with the gothic trends of the Victorian era, and you've got yourself the perfect recipe for a literary monster. So Vlad's nickname Dracula comes from his father, Vlad II Dracul, who was a member of the Order of the Dragon. Dracul meant dragon, and Dracula literally means son of the dragon. That's really cool. In Romanian, Dracul also means devil, so you can see how the branding got a little bit dark. Vlad was infamous for his brutal tactics. What was his favorite, you may ask? Impalement. Thousands of his enemies, Ottomans, rival nobles, or anyone who crossed him, were skewed on long stakes and left as gruesome mourning. Could you imagine like being like a small child in like the Victorian era, right? So you think everything's out to get you. You look up and you just see like a man just like there. What do? Scream? Or is it normal to you because you're like, oh, this happens on the regular. It's another guy who tried to mess with Vlad in the wrong way. One story even claims he impaled 20,000 soldiers and created what's now known as the Forest of the Impaled. I doubt that, because back in the day, everybody was just talking. You didn't have any documentation. You didn't have anything that stated, yes, he did this. You don't have any of that. You just have like eyewitness accounts. But then again, that eyewitness could also be the same one who's like responsible for seeing a ghost or something like that. But here's the thing. While Vlad's methods were extreme and very questionable, they were very effective. He was a hero to many in his hometown for defending his land against the Ottomans. The monster is what they called him. Imagine that. Imagine being so gruesome and so like unrestrained to the point where people like look at you and they can already imagine you soaked with like blood, and it's like, so as you can see, there was no blood sucking, no romance, no none of it. It was simply during war times, during a desperate time. I think impaling is a little bit too much. Maybe like a little neck slice, but impaling like full blown